the semi-finals on Saturday, we may as well start with them. York and Wigan.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I tweeted, Wigan seemed to have something over York. York eased in front, but they do seem to have something about that. I don't know, do York underestimate them? Are Wigan better than
Wigan have been so much better this season. Like, Wigan have put it to Leeds a couple of times. You know, semi-final of the Challenge Cup, and then just a couple of weeks ago, it was a really tight game. Wigan have been progressing and developing. They were hit by some injuries. They're not quite there yet, but they are building a really good squad. And I think on Saturday they played well. And they went out, and we'd heard from their camp that they were going out. They didn't care whether they couldn't field 13 for the final if they were made it, but they wanted to go out and give it their all, which I think in parts they really did. And I was expecting from the 60-minute mark to it to be a complete runaway, and it still wasn't. And for Wigan to put in an 80-minute performance but maintain it, no, it might not have been perfect. It might not have been, you know, a grand final standard, but for them to put up a consistent 80-minute performance, and I think
they tried to mix it up as well. I quite like their tactics.
Yeah, and do you know what? They were throwing the ball around more. Like, they put Rachel Thompson in at 13, which gave them three sets of hands across the field. Their receiving off a fast ball was just a little bit slow, so they were practically receiving stood still. So just changing that would speed it up. But people were saying, "Oh, you didn't fancy York." Like, York didn't play that great, and I think they'll be the first people to say that. I was with Kelsey as well, who was like, not the best performance, but Wigan put it to him. So yes, I think York would get through 100%. I thought it'd be a bigger score than that, but I thought it was a good, you know, I think it was great for Wigan, you know, so well done to them. Maybe
lots of exciting young players coming through, and a couple. I'm going to say old head sounds.
Anna Davies,
yeah,
fantastic. Every time she touched the ball, she caused indecision in the.
Now, is she the one that was from Sales Sharks or Sarries?
She's the one that's just been brought into the England performance,
and I think is a rugby union player.
But I thought if they'd have got her away a little bit more often, she caused trouble. And
Holly Speakman was putting in some right shots.
She was. Grace Banks,
great. Well, here's Tony on Grace Banks. I think Tony, I met you on Friday, didn't I think. I met someone called Tony.
Obviously, made a lasting impression.
Wait, it was someone called Tony in the bar after the game. It was like, we were waxing lyrical about everything that isn't the men at Wakefield Trinity. Great interception, and she has asthma. Great game. I've got asthma. I can't intercept. I've also got a child's inhaler because I can't use an adult's one. She's exciting to watch.
Grace Banks was brilliant, and a shame she went off with that HIA towards the end. Really young, fantastic coming. Do you know what the thing is about the 4 teams that are in the semi-finals? That I've got 4 strong academies coming through. So we talk about the game, and people saying they need to reserve these under-19s. Listen, there's not enough women in the game as it is. So to have 4 teams with strong academies, and that's where a lot of Wigan's talent is coming through. So fingers crossed she develops more and she gets picked up.
Apologies, Tony, it was a different Tony. He was at Leeds. He would love to meet me though. Well, that's a bit worrying.
Oh, that's lovely. That's nice.
It wasn't Squidris Elbow, who's also not called Tony, but Wigan, York, Leeds and Saints. I mean, the exciting thing about all this young talent is, and I know this is, I'm jumping around, but the NRLW, which is the biggest women's rugby league rugby competition in the world. Forget the World League; it's the biggest rugby competition in the world for women. And we've got a Leeds matchup in the grand final because Georgia Roach, Leeds, Georgia Hale, Leeds, in the grand final. She was at Leeds. She was there at Leeds
for 4 games.
Hey, I count Brad Singleton as a former Wakefield player. He was only there once.
Yeah, I think Georgia Hale's stint in Leeds was purposefully short.
Player of the match in the semi-final.
Yeah, she's gone great. I think she's gone great since she's been back out there, and I think Georgia Oates has been phenomenal. Like, it's one of those things that we knew she was a great player, but to go out there and step up and play,
to be given a 5-year contract, that is big responsibility in a competition where they don't normally give 5-year contracts.
With a significant figure, you know, and to be playing with the likes of Tamika Upton outside, you know, what a combination. And if Tamika Upton doesn't get the Dally M, then I'll be surprised, in my opinion.
Could we get you on Australian telly? going.
Do you know what? Right, when we do all these internationals, Danica Mason is one of the picture reporters and presenters out there. Danica Squared sounds great.
It does.
But I think when we do those internationals and we bring the Ashes and the women get to part of that, so they need some kind of who is more of a TV ho than me. Nobody. I don't
so you're
have to say
making
that.
a pitch for 2025 already?
Yeah.
26. 26?
No, 25. The Ashes tour.
Yeah, 25.
I think you might as well go for the World Cup as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I might as well just go out there, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I think I know the game pretty well. I know the English girls pretty well. I know the Canadians.
Playing
when do they play?
9 tonight.
9. I'll be back home in time for that then.
Shani Corral?
Yeah.
Was that a strange decision that she would choose Canada over St Helens? Did she ring up and go, right, I'm back for the Grand Final? They went, no rush. We're not in it.
Think that there is a larger issue that I don't think she'll play for England again.
Well, no, that's why she wants to
which is not her choice, from what I can understand. She was, in 2017, she was going to go play for Canada, and then 10 days before we flew, got pulled into the England squad. So she was already...
Born in Canada, it must be said. Toronto born.
Yeah, so she's not just... It's not just
heritage.
No.
She's, yeah. And they're good, like... I don't know them, obviously, but getting to know them and spending some time with the Canadians in 2017... They were there for a good time, not a long time. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's Shani's perfect kind of group at the minute. But have developed loads and will continue to. We saw Jamaica get significantly pumped by the USA.
In their first ever game, though, Jamaica.
Yeah, they played some... Yeah, it was fair. Sophie Robinson decided not to go out because she wanted to play the semi-final.
Well, that was good, wasn't it? Because...
I mean, yeah.
What happened?
Thank goodness, Sophie Robinson.
It reminded me, or as I was thinking on the way in, of the Challenge Cup semi-final, which you must have played in because we spoke about it during lockdown when Faye Gaskin didn't play for Saints because she was at a wedding.
Yes.
And Leeds won.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, 2019 or 20...
Whatever.
Was that a surprise, Leeds winning at St Helens?
Not for
in
me.
The semi-final?
Not for me. Genuinely, right.
No, seriously.
No, genuinely, I am the most nervous person when it comes, and I'm always kind of like, I hope they'll get it. Like, Saints is going to do them over, they're going to do them over. Not because I don't believe in the girls, but because I just... When it... I was there when the hurt of Wembley, and I had to... The first person I kind of skipped up was Caitlin, and I didn't think that... I think that was kind of hanging over their heads, and then the expectation that Amy and Caitlin were back, and that... the expectation that they would win having them back. But I think sometimes people write out but the game was at half time. I was really, really calm, as if it's got anything to do with me. And I was really, really confident, weirdly. And then when Saints went for that penalty, I just walked around and I said to Jenna and John, I was like, she's not going to get it. And they both went harsh, and I didn't even look.
No.
And I was deadly
confident. Matty
confident.
Smith knew she wasn't going to get it.
Well, I was deadly confident. And it came to Golden Point, and I was like, as long as we can keep the ball at that end and keep Faye away from the 40 out.
That's the problem. When we're talking about drop goals on the telly. If Saints had got a chance, because we saw in the Challenge Cup semi-final, Faye Gaskin can nail them. So that's obviously a concern.
And I played with Faye quite a few times, but I knew keeping them away from, like, keeping them deep in that end, we'd break them because we had done it. We were the only one, like, Leeds, I say we, we're not allowed to say that anymore, and that kid kept getting told off on the TV for saying we. Because it's not we anymore, is it? It's them.
Yeah, but you support them, don't you?
Yeah.
I have to catch myself when I talk about Wakefield half the time.
Yeah, well, same. You know how it is. It's difficult, isn't it? But the girls,
we're going to win at Wembley. No.
The girls were playing more free flowing rugby. They got their points from more free flowing rugby. So,
yes.
Casey's kick was going to come off again at some point. So I was weirdly confident.
Mentioning Wembley, and you've obviously said and it doesn't take a psychologist to work out they would have hit Leeds hard that they went there. First time ever, didn't win. But on the flip side, and this is now 2 seasons in a row, Saints have won the Challenge Cup and not gone on to the Grand Final. Now, obviously last year was different at Ellen Road, but this year at Wembley, could you make an argument that psychologically that had an effect on them, that they'd done something that no one's ever going to do before as the first, that have knocked them slightly in terms of I know they obviously wanted to go on and win everything, but that was a major goal achieved. And can you get yourself back up again to go again in a semi-final?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it quite works like that, because St Helens, particularly with the calibre of players they've got, and not. Yes, they did celebrate, and they've now got that, and nobody else is gonna. And they've made pin badges of the girls and all of this, so that the hype around it is a lot more. But I don't. Yeah, there's always a hangover, much like there is in the men's game, but you can't let it last this long, can you?
Caitlin Casey.
She's quite good, isn't she?
It's not bad, is she?
Next Georgia Roach. Reckon that if she maintains her level of development at the moment, that the NRLW will come calling?
I would hope so, yeah.
Because she was very, very calm in those closing stages, or appeared to be very, very calm.
Externally very calm. I think it's taken her a little bit of a while to get to that stage, and she came
this time last year. She
came this time last year. She was in the final for Alton Raidettes. But you think she's come in and everyone talks about that, you filled some big boots. She hasn't filled some big boots. She's filled 2 pairs of boots. Do you know what I mean? She is the only wrist starting half that Leeds really consistent half that Leeds have. To then have the kicks that she does, and some work. She's got a great side, hasn't she, with Caitlin Beavers and Sophie Robinson.
And how important is having Hannah Butcher playing in the halves with her? Because if you're going to have the Ice Queen, you might as well be next to the youngest player.
But I think Leeds were just struggling to find a half. So you've got Sam Hume, who's really great at attack. You had Jenna Greening, who was great in defence.
Who played really well in the second row.
Who then played really well which I think is more her preferred position. Well, I think I prefer her playing in the second row anyway. So you needed somebody just to step up and not be afraid to do both, and Hannah Butcher isn't afraid to do anything. She's an actual hero of my life.
She even likes talking to us now.
Anywhere near her on a rugby field. Whatever position she's
doesn't
playing
care.
in, don't go near her.
Do you know what she also likes? A crate of bud.
I'm not surprised.
Do you reckon we're the only people she likes? I like to think we are. But I think
she's the nicest person off the field. I don't think she dislikes anybody. And if she did dislike you probably won't know, because she can tolerate anybody. She's great. She's probably one of my all-time favourite people.
I need some lessons in tolerance.
Me too.
So you're going for York in the final?
No.
I heard you on the telly. You said I'm going for York.
I think it's about time that York break there.
And they're at home. Does that give you more pressure?
I think that's more pressure.
We were talking about the playoffs now, and all of the we're reaching the business end, as we're obliged to call it. And even teams like Featherstone are going to feel pressure that they've not felt before, because they've got one game at home where everybody turns up and goes, right, you're going to win then. And it doesn't work like that sometimes.
Well, I've been to York probably more times than I've been to Headingley this season. And the fans up there and the support network and what they're doing as a club, I need to, from whatever I've thought about things before in the past, what they're doing up there and having seen it all and having seen the people work behind the scenes is great. And we need to kind of put that in a jar and then send it out. This is a real good idea of how things could be done, particularly in the women's game. And I think...
And wheelchair. I think they've come on leaps and bounds in that.
Well, all aspects, to be fair, any aspect of the game.
Well, I mean, we're not on the men's teams yet, but the fact that York have made the playoffs from where they were, because not only do they have all of their injured players back, which does help,
massively,
but they've got people there who... are in charge of Lindsay Anfield.
Well, Hendo had a bit of a scratchy start, didn't they? They are the kind of people that can see longer term. They're not just pushed by an owner that says we're winning this week and that's it. But I think I've seen Lindsay Anfield sat with Hendo during the men's games a couple of times. So I'm not saying. I said on the TV the other day that it was maturity, because it's not the maturity as such. But everyone, if you've watched the women's game for as long as you guys have, and we've been in it. Watching Lindsay on the side as a coach, she's much calmer now. Yeah, she's much more poker faced. She's much more. Her post-match interviews are so much better. She is a better coach, and I think the girls they do work really hard, whether you like them or not. They work hard. They are athletes. Well, this doesn't mean
they've got some of the most talented players that.
But then it's not just that, they're athletes and they work hard behind the scenes, and They have like Monday night training and Friday night training. They have awkward times, and I think they do need to break their cycle because, like Lindsay and a few of the girls that have come from the Castleford days, always a bridesmaid, never the bride. And I'm not saying I want them to win necessarily. I'd love Leeds to win. I'm Leeds through and through. However, that cycle needs breaking, and is it this year that it gets broken?
Well, I think the other interesting thing is they've got some strike players off the bench as well who can turn games.
Reed Marshall made a massive difference the other day, didn't she?
As soon as she came on, it looked completely different.
Yeah, totally.
Almost my favourite player these days.
Almost.
Oh yeah, because
almost our favourite, and here he is.
Oh hi.
Oh yes, I've been replaced.
Well,
although I think I replaced Danika, didn't I? So
we have a broad church, a great cross section.
Basically,
of opinion.
they're using us both now.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Who would? So if you don't run at Hannah Butcher, do you? Right. So if you put Hannah Butcher here's Hannah Butcher. They're York over there. That's Jasmine Bell. What happens then?
Hannah goes low.
The irresistible force meets the immovable object.
Yeah, but it's the power versus Newton's first law. An object remains stationary in a linear line of motion until acted upon by an external force.
No wonder the one you're on Rugby Union. That's far too intelligent.
My first degree in sports science and medicine. Have I ever used it since then? No, but here I am.